Hello my friends, it's Ranger Russ from the Meggs Point Nature Center. Getting ready to do a really special program today. I'm going to be doing a golf cart tour of the Nature Center. Now I'm starting out in front of the Nature Center. Unfortunately, the Nature Center remains closed. We will let you know as soon as it's open. The other state facilities, the educational facilities are closed as well. So Goodwin Conservation Center, Dinosaur State Park, and the Kellogg Environmental Center. But the parks are open. So you can still hike at Dinosaur State Park. You can still hike at Osborndale State Park, which is right next to Kellogg. And you can hike all around Goodwin. There are lots of trails up around Goodwin, which I will be visiting up there at some point in the future. So today we're doing a golf cart tour. We're going to go along the bike path. I tried to figure out how I could do this on a bike, and with all the camera gear and microphone and everything, I thought it would be better if I did it from a golf cart, and I picked today because there's not going to be as many people on the bike path. So let's switch the camera around. So we are starting here at the Nature Center. That's the old building that you see right there. And we're gonna go like this. There we go. And let's head off. So, be a little bit rough here because I'm not on a nice paved road. That's the old Nature Center. Question is, can you camp at Hammonasset? You can camp. We are not taking walk-ins though, so you have to make a reservation. And if you just want to do a weekend like this weekend, I think you have to wait 2 or 3 days ahead of time before you can do that. Okay, so we're going to cross the road over here, and can I fit by? Somebody just moved this barricade, was not here last time I came through. Just bumped it there. All right, so we're starting out here on the bike path. You can see right there those purple flowers on the corner. That's chicory. We'll definitely be talking about those in future programs. And if you want to see our past programs, you can go to meggspointnaturecenter.org's Virtual Learning Center or the YouTube channel, Meggs Point Nature Center YouTube channel. This is all chicory on the right here. Very common roadside flower. We've got some Queen Anne's lace there as well. The large white flowers on the sides. I'm also going to ask everybody, reach out to everyone you know and try and get them to like us on Facebook, because we're really close to going over 10,000 followers on Facebook. And all of the volunteers, everybody that works with the Nature Center, are really excited to break that 10,000 followers mark. So we'll see if we can break that. So our bike path, this is relatively new, 5 years now this has been open. We've got these nice fences along the side. That's to keep people from walking in the dunes. So we really ask that you not climb over those fences. This is one of our beach pull-off areas where you can pull off and park to go to the beach. There's a beach access point right here. So you can get to the beach there. But we ask that you use the access point and not try and climb over the fences to get out onto the beach. So I can see there's a little Phragmites on the sides here. On the left side, that's an invasive. We've got some cedars coming up here on the left. We really like to see the cedars along the sides of the roadway here. That's something natural. It's something that really should be here. We get these nice cedar groves. So I'm going to show you more of the cedar groves. In the back there's a pitch pine. Those were planted along the dunes. Back in the 60s, they had to rebuild these dunes. The dunes have been washed away by years of storm activity. So they were rebuilt, and they were man-made, and they planted these pines because they were fast-growing. They could survive. We're losing a lot of them now. There's some sort of blight that's taking them out at this time. So we've lost lots of those pines. But to see the cedars, those are the trees that are taking over for those pines that are dying off. Now, if you notice on the bike path, there's a little gravel on the sides. So we put that in. It adds a little width to the road and lets someone on a bike that doesn't want to be on the hard pavement, or a jogger, to go on the sides. In addition to just paving and making a really nice bike path, we upgraded the utilities. When this road was put in, there was new electric and water and gas lines put to some buildings in the park. And that allowed us to update a very outdated system. Our electrical and water systems, we were having lots of issues over time. So this gave us a really great upgrade. No more water main breaks, no more power outages during storms. In the old nature center, when we had the old copper line going to the nature center, every time it rained, I would lose the phone line. And then the phone company would only come out on beautiful, sunny, dry days and say there was nothing wrong with the phone line. But I always found that amusing because I couldn't call them on a rainy day. So we're behind the dune right now. So this is a back dune area. This isn't quite an upland. You can notice there's still a lot of cedars. So this is, I would say this is a cedar grove. There are some invasives in here. I see a little autumn olive. Here's a really cool little spot. So you can see how sandy it is on the side here. And you can also see some bayberry. So we've got some nice native, but look at how nice that's a natural cedar grove. That's how a cedar grove should look. Not a lot of invasives in there. There's some poison ivy growing in the back. Again, poison ivy is great for our wildlife. So we like to have the poison ivy growing here. And if you stay on the paths and the trails here at Hammonasset, you shouldn't encounter poison ivy. We do work to eliminate it from the trails and the paths, but we let it grow naturally. Now look at all that chicory there. There's a lot of chicory on the sides here. The chicory is European, and it was brought here. I would say that it's probably listed as an invasive. I don't know that for sure, but it is not native to New England. All right, so we're coming up on one of our crossways here. Normally we do not allow motorized vehicles on the bike path. Just let everybody know that. Not that anybody's bringing a golf cart to the park, but this allows us, looks like one of our deep staff checking our weather station. We do have a weather station at East Beach, and they do come down to check it now and then. It looks like we just went by some cow vetch there. Got lots of beach rose here. The rose hips are starting to come in. When we get some ripe rose hips, I'll try them out, let you know how they taste. I have had them before. Someone's asking where this is at Hammonasset. This is our bike path. So we call it our birch trail for beach utility recreation trail. So again, the utilities were added in. It is a recreational trail. We really wanted to pave this trail to give people an opportunity to get off the streets. We were having lots of baby carriages that couldn't go on a gravel path, and they were walking out on the street, and we thought it would be much safer if a baby carriage could be on this path. So it was, I thought it was a great idea to do this paved path. So we're coming up on another access point. Again, the fences are to keep people from walking over the dunes where we want to protect and preserve the dunes. We're coming up on Middle Beach. I'll show you the Middle Beach building here. There it is. That high roof there. Middle Beach is a relatively new building, less than 10 years, I believe. And that has composting toilets in it. So one of the things we're doing to try and, I got to talk about this. So it has composting toilets, but also right here, these purple flowers that you see, this is purple loosestrife. This is an invasive plant. It's very, very rare in its native environment, but it's very common here in the Northeast. I met a person that studies, a botanist that studies these flowers, and they went to Europe studying rare flowers. They were in Austria. And there was the botanist that was there, took the person out to see this very, very rare flower. And they drove for hours to get out into the Alps. And then they hiked up a trail for another couple of hours just to see these 3 or 4 purple loosestrife plants, because it was such a rare, special plant there. And that botanist was from Pennsylvania, was working for the state of Pennsylvania at the time, and he said, you need to come to Pennsylvania because we have millions of these along the roadways of Pennsylvania. So just to show what an invasive can do in its native habitat versus its natural habitat. All right, let's keep going here and see what other things we can find. So again, this is another one of our access points, which we encourage people to please use the designated access points. Lots more chicory. We've got Middle Beach right here on the right. I'm going to show you that building, a little closer view of this building. It's got a really tall, unusual roof line, but pretty neat building. The sandy area is where the old Middle Beach bathhouse was. And actually, it wasn't called Middle Beach, it was called the Pavilion. But so here's the access to the boardwalk. We do not allow bicycles or motorized vehicles on the boardwalk, and I'm not going to be driving on it. But you can see some little skid marks there. Somebody has ridden a bike out there, definitely. We do see bikers out there, but they shouldn't be out there. All right, let's see what other things we can find along the trail here. I'm seeing some autumn olive and some Asian bittersweet, 2 other invasive. I've talked about those over and over. We have them a lot at Hammonasset. So if you would like to see those programs, again, go to the Virtual Learning Center. So this is actually what I do when I'm driving down a street. I'm always trying to identify the plants. I do it on the highway, try and identify the trees as I go. It's always entertaining to me to see how many of them you can identify as you drive by on the highway. Here we have Pavilion 2 and 3. So these pavilions can be rented out. They have a little parking lot there. They're not very far from West Bathhouse. These are our largest of the pavilions that we have here at the park. Okay. The far one there, that's number 2, and then the nearer one is number 3. and we will go by number 1 as well. And now we're coming up to some smaller pavilions. These pavilions were put in when they built our new West Bathhouse, which was completed about the same time as the Nature Center. So 2016 was a very big year for the park. We got the Nature Center completed. We got West Bathhouse completed. I think that was the year we began work on the Burt Trail. That was also the year I got married. Just a couple of weeks after I opened the Nature Center, we got married and had the reception at the Nature Center, which was pretty cool. So we've got, there's some more buckwheat on the side here, curly dock. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's some coming up here. There's some brown. That's curly dock. It's ripe now. If anybody likes buckwheat, they can harvest that and do it just like you would make buckwheat pancakes. All right, I'm going to pause here and see if I have any questions. Looks like there's a few there, but I think I've answered those, so let's keep going. So again, this is our West Bathhouse. We've moved it back from the beach and raised it up to keep it from being affected by storms and sea level rise. With sea level rise, our storm wave action is much stronger than it used to be. So we're trying to keep our buildings back away from the beach, and it also allows us to have a dune between the beach and the buildings. I just noticed there was a sign back there I should have showed you saying, please keep off the dunes. That would have been a good one to point out to you. So this is our West Beach access. Again, we ask people to please use the access points and not walk across the dunes. Got some little showers there for cleaning off after you're done swimming at the beach. Now these large trees you see here, these are going to be cut down. These are an invasive species. That's Tree of Heaven. We really don't like to see those here, but they are here. I also want you to take a look here going through the sand. You can see that little path put down. That's a flexible path that's put down on the sand that allows wheelchair access to the beach. I thought that was amazing when they first were demonstrating that. They brought some samples out and we got to look at them. So really cool. We can roll wheelchairs right out there. You can also borrow beach wheelchairs from the park. We have the large rubber tires on them and they can roll right out onto the sand. You do have to push them. And when I've had school groups, I've actually had the kids take turns pushing their classmates in the wheelchairs. It's great to see the cooperation. Actually, everybody wants to be the one pushing the wheelchair. All right, I've slowed down here because I want to show you. You see that really tall spire of yellow flowers getting ready to pop out there? Just a few popping out on the top. That's mullein. Mullein is an excellent plant for starting fires. When that stem dries out, it's really good for using a bow to start fires. More Tree of Heaven here, another one of the small pavilions. So these small pavilions, you can't rent them, but you can visit them. And we do ask that you keep your group small. And if you are not from the same household, you maintain social distance. All right, so coming up here, looks like the garbage truck is here today. And we're coming up on pavilion number 1. So back where we just were, West Bath, that's where our concession stand is. We're coming up on where our old concession stand was, and they upgraded the concession stand and moved it back to back to West Beach. And we also have a concession stand down at Meg's Beach, right where I started. There's a concession stand there as well. So this is the area where I saw the Sandhill Crane. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch that video, it was absolutely spectacular. I had a blast doing that program. Sandhill Crane was right over here and it walked right up to me. So that was a lot of fun to see that. And you should really watch that video. All right, let's see. We've got a question here. Looks different than when my family camped there in the 50s. There were circles of 12 campsites and outhouses in the center. Yes, and in the 50s, you still probably would have been camping at Willard Island and at Meg's Point. I think 72 was the last time they allowed camping at Meg's Point. So right here is where the Sandhill Crane was. It has not been sighted since I did that video that I know of in Connecticut at all. So there's a dragonfly flying right along. I wish I could have showed you that. All right, any other questions? Are the concession stands open? And yes, the concession stands are open. I don't usually get a lot of food from a concession stand, but they are open. All right, we've got, it's funny, you work in a place and you don't eat in the place where you work. Here's a whole lot of, look at all that Queen Anne's lace. You don't usually see it in that large of a grouping. There's a little, if you look here, we've got nice little marsh there. And then over on this side, we're coming up on our West Beach field. And I did a program from here as well. So we got to walk around this field here on the left. I'm not going to drive through that trail. It's probably wide enough for me to drive this cart on, but we're not going to do that today. There's some autumn olive there. You see those lighter leaves. Now, if you notice, leaves are starting to turn over here. We've had one set of storms move through here already today. And we're expecting some more. There's our mower over there. That's Wayne mowing. I don't know if you guys can see him waving. There, let's watch Wayne go by mowing. I think it takes that crew 4 days to mow the whole park. It's not just Wayne doing it on his own, but it usually takes them about 4 days. They get the whole park mowed, and then next week they start the whole process all over again. Robin says my favorite place to walk is either Hammonasset or this bike path. This is a great trail for walking. You can see over there that raised unmowed portion. That is actually our leaching field for the West Bathhouse. Okay, so we're coming up on our little playground area. The playground is accessible to campers and visitors alike. You cannot access it from the campground if you're a park patron, but you can walk in, you can park right here in this field and go visit the concession stand, or the concession. I was reading the concession question. The playground, you can go right in here and use the playground anytime. And we do ask, so pets are allowed on the trail, but not allowed in the campground. So if you're bringing your pets through the campground, we ask you to stay on the path. All right. I'm going to move through here. Make sure nobody's coming. So again, we've got the post and rail fencing. It keeps people on the Burt Trail. My granddaughter was the camp manager of Meg's and Willard's Island in the 60s. Grandfather, very cool. I don't know the name John Cave. I didn't know most of the supervisors back in the 60s. Although one of my former supervisors was a seasonal here in the 60s. Let's see, we have another comment. What's a great idea? What a great idea. Haven't been down since February. Are the bathrooms open or still only We do have the bathrooms open. The Nature Center bathroom's not open, so there are porta potties in front of the Nature Center, but all the other bathroom facilities are open. This is a really beautiful part of the trail. So we've got our camp office right there. If you are camping, you do have to check in there. Even if you're just visiting, you should still check in there. But this is a beautiful little area, goes right along by the campground. Again, the fence keeps people from wandering out into the campground. Just gives the campers a little more privacy. Let's see, we have another question. They mowed yesterday when I was there, and many animals such as robins and bunnies, Canada geese, squirrels, and other birds were enjoying the foraging through the fresh cut grass. Yes, there are lots of animals that catch on. They get very smart and they figure out that they can get food after the mower goes by. There are times of year that we don't mow. We do try and manage for our wildlife. So just before butterfly season, we'll start mowing and let lots of the parking areas go to flower for the butterflies. So just keep that in mind. There is a mowing plan to try and manage for optimum wildlife here. Thanks for the lift. You're welcome. I really thought this would be a fun thing to do rather than just walking along the bike path, which I wouldn't be able to do the whole bike path. So if you are crossing here, make sure you hit the little button. If there are cars coming, hit that button. It turns lights on and lets people know that they need to slow down for you to cross. We also have, I didn't show you the first one, but at the other end by the Nature Center, these little pull-offs. There'll be benches here. Just a little place that you can rest along the bike path if you choose to. We've got a few of them along the bike path. It's a really nice relaxing path. No reason to rush. John Cave lived in the old Nature Center. Yeah, that was the camp manager's house. At one time, the camp manager and the lifeguard director shared the house. One had the first floor, one had the second floor. Question, are you allowed to buy ingredient stuff, feed the animals? I think you're asking if I'm getting things to feed the animals, and I do. I have regular orders of things to feed the animals at the Nature Center. Here's one of our park supervisors going by. That's Mark. Heading out, check on things through the park. So we're coming up near the end. So this portion of the trail, this is the Burt Trail, is shared with the Greenway Trail. So this is the access you would take to go out on the Greenway Trail. And we are coming up on the Greenway Trail parking lot. So you can park over in this lot and walk into the park. It's a great access point, great place to start your bike ride if you are biking or walking, and you can do the Burt Trail and the Greenway Trail combined. I think if you did them all back and forth, I think it's like 6 miles or 7 miles of trails. Okay, so here we are at the Greenway Trail parking lot. I'm going to flip the camera around and see if we've got any questions here. Didn't flip. There we go. Okay. Do we have any other questions? I'm not seeing any questions. I want to let everybody know we're going to continue these programs Tuesday to Friday at 11 o'clock on Facebook Live. We do have some things coming up for YouTube Live. We are going to be doing for the month of October on Saturdays. I think that we picked a time of 10 o'clock. We're going to be doing specific programs about Native Americans. So we will keep you up to date on those programs coming up. We also have the Schumann Lecture Series coming up next month, Fridays at 6:30. So I'll be doing my regular programs at 11 and then special programs at 6:30 on Fridays. That's part of one of our lecture series. So keep an eye out for all of those things. Again, the parks are open. Please come enjoy the parks. But if you see that a park is closed, please don't try and park and walk in. Don't even come down to, I wouldn't even come to the area if Hammonasset's closed, because we get a lot of congestion down here when the park closes and we have to start diverting traffic. But other parks as well, like Rocky Neck, the same thing. Once they fill up, it gets really difficult to get people in there. Okay, I see some comments and questions. Let's see, rollerbladed. Yeah, you can rollerblade out along the bike path as well. The bike path, actually, it's a better place to rollerblade than on the street, because rollerbladers take up a wider swath on the street, so it gets more difficult to pass them. Any other questions? Okay, also next week, next Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going back to New Hampshire. So I'm going to be doing another very short vacation. I will continue to do programs from up there. I did one from the Basin last time, and I have an idea that there's a place similar to the Basin that I'm going to try that I've never been to this time. So we'll see if we can get there. I see a comment. So the program in October is not necessarily going to be on the Hammonassets, although we're going to try and keep it focused on tribes of Connecticut. I'm reaching out to the Mashantuckets and the Mohegans to see if they have a speaker or somebody that might want to come down, and we can do sort of a walking, talking lecture or tour. So keep an eye out. Those programs are still in the works. So... Oh, someone's asking where the parking lot is. A good question. It's on Route 1. If you're getting off the highway, when you're if you're at the traffic light facing Hammonasset, you want to go left, and it's immediately right there on the right after you go left. So you can't miss it. If you go left on Route 1, you're heading east on Route 1, you will see it. It's on your right-hand side. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed this golf cart tour of Hammonasset Beach State Park. Keep an eye out for other tours coming up. Maybe I'll do a golf cart tour of the campground or another part of the park in the future. But we will see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Until then, this is Ranger Russ signing off.